Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, whether you two or 102, whatever you identify as or call yourself. Hello, how you doing? Welcome to episode 58 of Sucio Sports, presented by Gel Blasters and Inplay Dogs. I am the man in the chair right now, Jermaine, Mr. Borden, unsupervised himself. My co-pilot, Keyz, aka your girl's favorite podcaster, will be here with us in just a second. And no, I'm not trying to be an obnoxious prick. I just have a really nice gaming headset that I use for my potting. So that stupid mic is always in the way. And joining us here on episode 58 of Sucio Sports, presented by Gel Blasters and Inplay Dogs on the CDB Multimedia Network. You can catch all the other pods. I'll name all of them and sponsors later. Is none other than the final boss of Backstage Brawl himself. You muted.
Oh, damn it. I pulled the Eric.
See, look, dude, bro. You know when he see this. You already know when he see this. You not going to hear the end of this.
I say this to him on the show. So it's like, listen, I say this when he's on the show. I said it this past Sunday. No, Saturday, where he was doing the watch along. So I did it then. So it's no different, dog. It's no different. I'm just happy to be on the show, man, for real.
Man, I appreciate you sliding through with us tonight, man. Like we was it was funny because like we'll get together and make sure like, okay, we need to change times or anything or days or anything. No, we're good. Okay, cool.
Nah.
We need to change this, we need to change that. No, okay, cool. He was like, do you have anybody tonight? And I was like, well, I talked to a backup just in case, like, anything got tossed around last second. We needed somebody. I said, just to change it up a bit. I do have a backup in place. And he was like, who?
It's good.
And I told him, I was like, remember Raymond from Backstage Brawl? Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Bring him on. I was like, hey, I don't be knowing whose mutuals is whose, so sometimes I don't be knowing people know each other, to be honest with you.
I respect it.
Yeah, but Keyz knew exactly who y'all was when I said that, so he was like, "Oh, definitely."
Nah, much respect to Keyz, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you. But we normally play a little song at the intro. We don't have like intro music, quote unquote, but like we normally like play a song at the beginning of the show. Keyz is normally the person who picks this out because I'm not hip on do music. It's either him or one of my kids, aka one of the interns that will hip us to some new music or whatever. And so, you know what I'm saying? That's where we normally get music from. This week, I'm not gonna lie, I have to get a shout out to my real good friend Chris Moses. Chris is one of the coolest white dudes I've ever met since I moved to Texas. And I love Chris like a brother, like for real. Like we couldn't be more opposite, but we like how just two people, just two total opposite people just like connect and just that's me and him. We couldn't be more opposite, but it's like that's my brother for life. Like I love that dude.
You just vibe and click. That's how it
exactly. We worked together, and then we just like clicked on on a personal level and stuff. We just became really good. Like literally, like we've been friends for like 20 years. It's crazy, but
yeah, man.
He texted me out of the blue. He was like, "Man, I really like this guy," and I was like, "What?" This is all Chris. This is all Chris.
Testing. All right. You can cut out that other shit.
Yeah. Run it up, Blondo.
I know this would be Keyz approved as well.
Hey, bitch, bitch, I'm from Texas, where we should ride in swangers and put diamonds in our necklace. Ho, drink inside my lemonade till it look like a Pepsi. See, I come from the D where we got checks and we be flexing. If you ain't from my state, then you should know don't put protection. Hey, we always strap, we keep our weapons. My mama from the 8, she slowed it down for me at 7. Used to think Pimp C was a god before he went to heaven. I knew what Pusha P was before Gunna even said it. Hey, C0 taught me keep my weapon and never trust a nigga or a bitch cause it's expected. No killers from the country, they ride horses and throw selfies. Got niggas in the East ride ATV.
Hey, man.
First off,
hey man, look, I'm not from here, but I've been here for a mighty long time. And my kids were born here. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Houston, just by the way, in case anybody didn't know. Like, yeah, Houston. I'm in Houston. But like, you know what I'm saying? Big X, like, he just and always keep your fucking weapon. Big X reminds me of like everybody had that one friend in school, right? That was like the cool friend, the funny friend. Like that person always like just got their jokes off, or they were smart, witty, whatever. And typically it was like a defense mechanism because it made up for like something else, right? Nah, that wasn't him because he was a hell of a football player. So he's like, he's not like, okay, he was like the cool kid, the athlete that just so happened like I have this other talent as well. And I'm just saying, man, I don't know what it is. It's just like he made good music. Like it's just like I'm in I used to be real active in these different bourbon groups because I like to drink bourbon and whiskey. What up, Dre? This is Dre in Colorado, by the way. I have to specify because I have another Dre, a good friend of mine here that drives trucks. So that's Dre on 290 or Dr. Dre. Well, both of them say Dr. So I have to say Dre in Colorado and in either Truck Dre or 290 Dre. I have to separate them because they double, they get in here and they're like, hey, Dre, like chaos ensues between the two of them because they both need to be put in the penalty box sometimes.
Nah,
but anyway,
I respect it.
Nah, man, but like, Big X is just he just I don't know. I either like it or I don't. So just like when I have a drink, I either like it or I don't. It's not like I don't have like some fancy way to describe it. I may have some words for it or whatever. I either like it or I don't. I listen to his music and I like it.
I'm with you on that, but what, like being put on a Big X this year, it was one of the songs he did a remix to Whip It.
Yeah, bro.
And I was bumping to it, and I was like, all right, he may be one of them rappers, you know, like I was going in with low expectations, but like when I heard the song, I was blown away by how he delivered those lyrics. I'm like,
yeah,
it feels good. Like if anything that what 2024 and Kendrick Lamar has done this year is bring the music game back to being coastal, where everybody got their own sound.
Yeah,
I miss that. I miss that.
Yes, you niggas do have a coalition of Andres. That's exactly what the hell it is. It's a coalition of Andres that get together and terrorize the internet, Twitter, the friend groups, the group chats. Because I swear, like, as Dre in Colorado is younger than me and like crazy and always doing truck driving, Dre is a little older than me, but he's still just as crazy and does and says outrageous and egregious stuff. So it's like I got one older than me and one younger than me. I'm like, bruh, both of y'all need to chill. It'd be too much when I have both of y'all at the same time. It's like bro,
same
down.
Same energy, and you just smack dab.
Same energy, two different generations. That's what it be. That's exactly what it be. That's exactly what it be.
Oh my That's good.
I'm not gonna lie, it'd be funny though. It do be funny.
I mean, those be the best times though. Like those be the best vibes for real. Because that's how it is.
And then when you have like different friends from different backgrounds and stuff like that too, you know what I'm saying? That's what I really like the diversity and everything, because it's like I could get into an argument with anybody, but it's like being able to get into a nice conversation with different people is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then you get different perspectives too.
Nah, that's a fact.
Like, I bet you from New York. You're a Giants fan, right?
Unfortunately.
I'm not trying to pick any wounds.
No. I know.
Not trying to pick any wounds.
Listen.
I'm going somewhere with this. You've been in the same division with the Cowboys all your known life, right?
Unfortunately.
Have you ever met a rational Cowboys fan?
No. Actually one. But other than that, no.
It's a rarity, right?
It's a rarity, bro.
Have you ever seen 3 of them in the same place putting the franchise on blast and keeping it real?
Nah.
I saw that. I was a witness. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even pull out my phone and take a picture or a video. I was just sitting there. I wasn't even only had like one beer.
Just one beer.
I couldn't even drink it. I ate my food, but I had barely finished my one beer because I'm just sitting there and I'm watching 3 like lifelong hardcore Cowboys fans like literally lay out. I didn't have to say nothing because they said it for me. They knew exactly what was wrong, exactly what needed to be fixed, exactly what has been the problem and what is the problem. Jerry Jones. They laid it out. I was just like, hey, I'm witnessing history. And I don't even know like how to react, or I couldn't even pull out my phone to record it or nothing.
Because it wouldn't have been true. It would have been a legend.
It was there and it happened. And I know that I can call on either one of those 3 gentlemen and they'll admit to it. And that's something that, like, I promise you, it's not my birthday. It's not my birthday. All right. Well, let's since Vin went, let me just, because some people may have seen it on social media or whatever. Find this. You know, sometimes I'll be how do I switch? I don't want this one, I want the other one. I'm trying to figure out how to switch my profile on Instagram because I want to go to a different profile. Oh, here it goes. My bad. There we go. Hold on, give me a second, y'all. It's not my birthday. It is not my birthday. It's something else, but it's not my birthday. But yeah. Who's profile? Okay, here we go. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, now let's take it up over here to the side. Oh, there we go. There we go. So, this isn't my birthday. It's I mean, I already put it out there on the article for Black Wrestling, in case y'all didn't know. But my little brother that I talked about in the article today would have been his 40th birthday. That's why I posted that number. And that's why I posted it in that color every year for his birthday, because that was his favorite color. So just in case people were wondering or asking or what have you, I mean, I already opened up and put it out there. So it's not like, it was like some secret or nothing like that. It's just people didn't know, and people started telling me happy birthday, and I'm like, nah, you got about a week and a half or so. It's coming. It's not yet, but here you go. But yeah, that's what that was. So it wasn't my birthday, but yeah, we had a reason to kind of celebrate today.
Nah, respect to that, and happy birthday to your brother.
Appreciate it. Yeah, but anyway, let's lighten the mood a little bit. I don't want to keep everybody down. I just wanted to make sure I address it because like people, I didn't want people to start like telling me having like you close, but not quite yet.
A week of some change.
Yeah, you got a little bit, but like nah, this was the article.
Damn, you taller than Booker T? Damn it.
Bro, shut up, man. Focus, bro. I'm talking about the article. Stop looking at the pictures and stuff. You're supposed to be reading the words. You don't look at. See, you're the kind of person that give when people talk about Playboy and stuff. Oh, I'll read it for the article. Nah, you be looking at the picture because you can't even focus. This guy. What the hell?
It was good.
I'm trying to pay attention to the article. You want to talk about the pictures. This is the first time I had this guy on. Probably this is the last time I'm bringing you on. Man.
You said trying to bring some levity to the room, right?
God damn.
Trying to bring some levity to the room.
Nah, man. You sitting here perpetuating myths and stuff like that. I told y'all, man, it was a thing of wires and stuff that was in the room, and what I was standing on top of that. It wasn't. I'm not that tall. I'm really not. I'm really not that tall. But anyway, that's the article there on Black Wrestling. In case y'all wanted to peep that out.
It was definitely something that was like from you can tell like especially when you read because I read your stuff before when you talk about the Texans and the Rockets which you've been foretelling like you must be Negrodamus or something.
Stop it.
No. I started reading your articles like in 2022.
Yeah,
and you was like. The Texans are about like a year away from being a year away, but you were a year ahead of schedule. The Rockets, you were like, give it at least 2 to 3 years. It's like if they could get a coach like Udoka, I think they could, expedite that schedule. They're second in the West. You are once again right on the money with that.
Look,
your
ladies and gentlemen, I did not pay him to say that. He is appearing on this podcast for free. Because we broke his shit. We ain't got money to pay guests. He said that. I didn't say that. I can't even remember. I can't even remember.
Listen,
but I remember. All I remember was I just. It's like I don't know.
You were right.
I could tell like both of them were on the upswing and like they just needed just a little tweaking here and there, and boom, it was gonna take off. Like. I wasn't worried about that, man. I just knew it, like I just felt it. You know what I'm saying? I just felt it, and it was cool because it was just like okay, I was right, whatever. Like I'd be more worried about when I be wrong than when I be right. When I'm right, I don't like to say nothing. I'll be more focused on when I'm wrong because if like I'm wrong, what couldn't I figure out?
Yeah, we're the same in that. Like we are the same when it comes to that. I ain't gonna hold you.
Sloan? I did not lie. I never lied.
Nah, you didn't lie about you didn't lie about the Texans. You didn't lie about the Rockets, man. Like they hooping right now on the field and on the court. They both hooping in that city. So much credit to you and your literary works and your articles that I got you to read.
Look, this is the thing. Like. Sometimes I'll be right, and it'd be cool when I be right, But like I said, I focus on more the things that I'll be wrong about. Why did I see?
Dude, that was my fault. Because I know
Wait, look at Vin. Look at Vin. When he puts on the Bucky's outfit, he gets That's So Raven visions. Bruh, I promise you, if that was the case, I would have that Bucky. I would have 3 of those Bucky outfits if I had That's So Raven visions when I put on that Bucky's outfit.
And a winning lotto ticket too.
What? What?
I'm retired today.
Look, you ain't got to tell me twice.
It's like I'm retired today.
I ain't even moving because I don't like moving.
I would be the same if I ended up winning. I'm like,
I ain't going nowhere.
Like the only thing I use my money for is to travel, pay my bills off.
Bro, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Like I don't need much.
That's it. You know, I would be buying stuff for other people. I would buy each of my kids. I would buy them a place so you can get the hell out of my house. I would make sure, I ain't got it for my sister. She be buying shit for me. Like I'm spoiled. Her and my mom. But like I would be doing stuff for other people. I don't want nothing. Just whatever. I just want to make sure, just y'all be good. I'll be okay. Just as long as everybody got their own house, cool. That's all I care about. Just as long as y'all could be at y'all house and I could be at my house, it's a win. It's a win for everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's like, man, that'll be the dream.
Dude, who you telling? Who are you telling?
Let me just hit the numbers just one time, dog. just one time.
One time. I just need just once. I don't even need to hit for that much.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't got to hit for that much. I'm not asking for the jackpot. Just enough to retire and probably go see WrestleMania live without worrying about the tickets.
Yeah, man, look.
Them tickets are worth it a mortgage.
Brother, don't I know it?
Yeah,
don't I know it? Because look here. I looked and I was like, oh my God. Like that. I was like, wait, and you sitting where? And like
SummerSlam's cheaper.
Everything for SummerSlam is cheaper. You can get two. You could get both. You could get tickets to SummerSlam both nights, hotel, airfare, and some meal money. A whole SummerSlam trip, and you still barely paid for just your 2 tickets to Mania. You have not paid for nothing else. If that, I mean, it is unreal, outrageous, and you know what? I just hope and pray like the wrestlers themselves are benefiting, and we seeing some of that. It's just like when these leagues get richer and these contracts inflate because of these streaming and TV deals.
Yeah,
you guys signing for $60 million a year and getting hurt like Dak Prescott. We see guys like
trash.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. I had to because like I know like some of my friends and people that I know that are Cowboy fans, they either love him or hate him or whatever. But it's just whatever. But you also have teams like the Giants that are
double trash,
forced to re-sign Daniel Jones because it's like we caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yo, if I had to turn back the hands of time after that playoff run, I would have paid Saquon.
Bro, look. Saquon was always to me the more for sure bet.
Yeah.
He was always to me the more for sure bet. Because one thing you know, if you put a line in front of him, he can run the ball. Even when you don't put a line in front of him, he still looks really good getting the scraps that he gets. But it's like y'all didn't invest in the line. You got a quarterback and a running back, but you didn't invest in what protects them and blocks for them. Like, what? Am I missing something?
You know the funny part about it is you mentioned it earlier. The same problem the Cowboys have, the Giants have, where it's up top. Mm-hmm. Jerry Jones is one person you got to get up from under because he's halting their team success. Mm-hmm. The Mara family, for their contrived idea of what a team should look like, especially for talented quarterbacks in this league, is held them back because they could have had multiple talented quarterbacks many times over outside of Eli Manning, since Eli actually, and they passed on that investing in Daniel Jones. They didn't have to pick a quarterback that year when they had to. They could have went another route and could have went for another quarterback that was better suited. Now we're basically to get Jalen Milroe from Alabama, and he's not even a sure bet in terms of changing this team because he has deficiencies in this game. It's just like they'll basically be drafting Dak Prescott at that point, because even now, like when you think about it, unless you're not Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, it's like Cam Newton's theory is correct, whereas like quarterbacks today are game managers rather than impact players. So it puts the Giants in a very tough situation. The same with the Cowboys too, but it has to change from up top. Like the thinking has to change from up top. Stephen Jones has to find some way to usurp his father and actually run the team because he's young enough to at least understand what the team needs better than his father. Whereas the Mara family, they need somebody. They need to just go get Michael Strahan or any other giant that's willing to get the ear of the Mara family and actually develop this franchise the way it's supposed to be. And because right now it don't look that way. And if I were them, I know Belichick might not be done coaching, but if he was interested, at least for a short term, being in the front office, I'd put him there.
Look, a consultant, something, a special advisor, like something.
He's won championships there too, so it's like, come on, think. Like
it's one of those. It's a situation where they have like certain pieces in place to where you can be really good and compete in that division, no matter how competitive that division might be right now. You have the pieces in place in order to compete, and you're just not focusing and putting it all together. And this is why the Philadelphia Eagles, they got a GM who knows how to work the system. And they have a coach who he's working with that offense, and then that defense is, they've reloaded that defense, and they've actually retooled and reshaped that offense to fit Jalen Hurts and the different guys around him. And it's just like they got it going. Those other teams are trying to catch up. The Commanders have found their quarterback. Hopefully that offensive line can continue to hold up in front of him and allow him to flourish. The Giants need to find another quarterback. The Cowboys have theirs. They just have to put a line in front of him and get him a run game and everything because they got the receiver. They got pieces on defense. But that offensive line, again, it's the crux of the position for a lot of NFL teams. A lot of NFL teams. When you have a bad offensive line, it will really just about disable you.
Listen, Eli on the back end of his career while watching Giants football had to suffer with a trash O-line where him and Odell could have done more in the years that they were together before Eli retired. And I would have felt that Odell probably wouldn't have left had they gave him that support. It's almost like when Melo was here when he was in New York as a Knick, and Phil Jackson did not surround him with the appropriate talent or the coach that didn't do the triangle. Oh, I guess I'm out. Or am I in? Jermaine. Where'd he go? It ain't my show. I guess I'll wait for Jermaine to come back.
My bad.
That's all good.
That's the stuff.
Nah,
It's live. We in some.
it be happening to me sometimes too.
It's crazy that you brought that up, because when you have a team and you're trying to put things in place, you have to consider everything, every aspect of it. Are you? Let me put it to you like this: if you, okay, let's say you're the Cowboys or you're the Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the quarterback and build around him, or do you get the pieces in place and then look for the quarterback?
Put the pieces in place first and then look for the quarterback. Because I think too many times before, especially with the Giants, when they got Daniel Jones, like they should have like continued to build around a better protection around Saquon, and then find your quarterback if you're able to. And they kind of messed themselves up by getting Daniel Jones by doing that, and it also kind of like shortchanged Saquon when he was in New York. And now I think because Joe Shane, who's in charge right now, in the back, Tiki Barber saying Tiki Barber is also the same type of person who left weeks before the team won a Super Bowl without him. So, like, I have nothing nice to say about Tiki Barber other than his endorsement of Jamaican flavors was ass. Other than that,
oh boy,
other than that, it's just like, the Giants kind of shot themselves in the foot. Whereas Dallas was able to kind of like retool around Dak before Dak got comfortable because Tony Romo was still there. But for whatever reason, the Giants, they usually work ass backwards for whatever reason, at least the regimes that were there prior to Joe Shane taking over. And he's done a good job. He's drafted well, I would say. He's done a good job in getting guys like Dex, and acquiring guys like Dexter Lawrence, and putting the right pieces on defense. Offensively, getting a guy like Malik Neighbors has been like, if he had a quarterback, bro, like I would love to see like what he can possibly do. I think the Giants have a lot of good prospects. It's just they gotta fill the holes and gaps where they need it. Same like the Cowboys. And then when you're ready to get someone that can basically command the offense, you do that. But until then, like, you could do it by committee. And where we stand right now, we have a high draft pick. Whether we choose a high quarterback in the draft, hello Cam Ward. Hello Shadur Sanders. If you're just able to come to New York, hey, listen. To get prime time in New York, boy, let me tell you, man. It's just so fucked up that we are competing with the Jets in tanking for said quarterbacks. But here we are. But that's what the Giants need to do. They need to basically shore up what they need to shore up. And the crazy part about it is the Jets are more ahead of them than the Giants are. Like the Jets have everything around. They gotta get that old washed ass quarterback out the way, Aaron Rodgers, who is my favorite quarterback, but much like LeBron, he's looking washed.
Bro, it comes a time.
Father Time is undefeated.
Look, Father Time and Mother Nature.
Undefeated.
When
it's time.
Never lost. So it's crazy like how you said both of those New York teams are now basically tanking, looking for their next trigger man to be under center. One of the other things that has kind of caught my eye in the NFL recently, which was a pretty big talking point, was Aziz Al-Shair's hit on Trevor Lawrence and his 3-game suspension, right? And, you know, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of conjecture, big pieces, all kinds of stuff. As a football fan, how do you feel about this situation? What are your thoughts?
All right, so I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna rebuttal your question with a question. 15 years ago, would this be a conversation?
No, probably not. It may have been like, okay, that was terrible, whatever. I don't think it would have been like much of a conversation.
At worst, during that time, because remember, Bounty Gate was around that time period. So at worst, he'd probably be benched for a quarter. Today, it's a suspension because with the money accrued to the NFL being one of the the biggest sports entities in all of sports, with the money with money revenue going up, so does the risk, and so does everything else in terms of the style of play. You're not going to this is no longer a game where it benefits the defense. It's an offensive league, is why you'll see all these records being broken that it took quarterbacks years to basically break or even come close to, or running backs. Like records that Barry Sanders would have back in the day, Dan Marino or Joe Montana. Like it took them they earned it. Nowadays, because of the way NFL plays, it's almost like the NBA. Freedom of movement, protecting the quarterback, making it more easier and opening the doors or the field for more offense. The league wants to see more offense. They want to see games go into the high 40s and early 50s and stuff like that. They want that. They want to run up the score. They want to attract more fans to the product as possible. And to do that, you have to take away from what made football so great from the people that grew up watching it through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, especially the last 20 years or so. Nowadays, when you look at football, it's like outside of probably baseball, almost every sport that you see nowadays is more geared towards offense, because that's what drives casual viewers, and it's analytics ball too. So the computer numbers, kind of like the math, has changed the game. So it's like, okay, this might not be a good pass, so let's just more so go for the run, this and the third. But if it's a like high octane passing offense, you got to make sure you get at least a good 20 for every down, and it has to be efficient. You can't get to the quarterback as you used to anymore, because if you do, it's a crazy penalty, and it's messed up because it doesn't benefit. Like, we all play sports. When you play sports, nothing's supposed to be easy.
No, like you're not expecting it to. You're
not expecting it to, and when the referees, and when the officiating or the way the game is played is geared for the offense, they can get away with everything. They can do anything on the hot sun as long as it drives up points and drives up stats for the game, because that's what the numbers or the analytics people want to see. You see it in basketball, you see it, you're seeing it in football. And I get some of it is to basically curtail the CTE and other things and concussions. But in the same token, if a good hit is a good hit and they're not walking up limping,
come on, man, you
gotta let that go. Like, there's football is a contact sport. Like, sports are contact period. Outside of golf, because you're just hitting the ball. But it's contact. Hockey is contact. Basketball is contact. Boxing, like any type of sport that that has some form of contact where you have to use your physical and athletic prowess, is gonna revolve around some form of contact. And if you don't allow that, it negates the thrill and the fandom of wanting to watch the game. And I feel like the three game suspension was kind of excessive. Like, if this was like during the time when like Lawrence Taylor was doing it, like today he'd be gone for the season. if Ray Lewis tried to knock your head off like he did Ocho Cinco years back, like that would be the season, man.
Like, And what's crazy is they'll legislate certain things out of the game, and you know it'll be good for the game and whatnot. But was it a bad play? It should have been penalized. Yes.
That I agree.
You know, you really can't pull up. You can't judge that, but the my thing is why lead with the form in that situation? Because if he was upright and he was coming at you, you wouldn't lead like that. So because he's sliding, why don't you more or less brace yourself instead of like, you know, like, well, it's whatever. But anyway, my thing is bad plays shouldn't have happened, should have done it. Penalized, yes. 3-game suspension, no.
Nah.
Because we've seen guys, the guy's never been suspended before for this. So to say that his first suspendable offense, you're gonna give him 3 games off rip?
That's excessive. And you take it, and that's 3 games. Hopefully, it's without pay.
Of course, it's without pay. It's not only that; it's a 3-game suspension, so you don't get paid, and you have to pay your fines on top of that.
See, the league is wrong for that. Roger Goodell got to do better. But again, when you're probably one of the biggest, highest grossing sports chain in the known world, money talks and bullshit walks.
Bingo. The problem that I have with all of this, and this is basically my rant for the week, I'm not going to get aggressive with it. I'm just going to spit facts. John Runyon, I want to get his title correct. I believe he's like one of the VP of football ops or something like that for the league, what have you. He wait a minute, here it goes. Former NFL player, right? He is now the Vice President of Policy and Rules Administration. Former player, right? 6'8", 330 is what he was listed at, right? Keep in mind, 6'8", 330.
Damn.
Huge guy. Really good guy. Michigan. Went to Michigan. Wolverine. I mean,
they blue. Let's go.
Big guy for the Eagles. Played for the Eagles a number of years, right? He said to Al Shire he talked to him about sportsmanship and the game and the this and that and blah, 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 right? This is why he's saying he's enforcing this 3-game suspension. Did you know John Runyon was voted the league's dirtiest player in 2006?
You don't say.
John Runyon. That guy.
You know what the crazy part is?
You could put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Brother, you could put on a suit and go into the front office of the league all you want. At your core, you're still that offensive lineman who once after a play, whistle blown, called dead and everything, ran and speared another guy right in the face with your helmet. Mind you, I told you to keep in mind, what is his height and weight?
6'8", 330.
Am I going crazy here for thinking that the guy who used to do stuff like this is now trying to come down on the player?
That's like saying Joe Dumars is the dean of discipline for the NBA, and like Draymond Green almost got done for the season last year. You know, granted, Draymond was wilding, but
he was. He was.
But like to suspend him for absurdly indefinitely for like putting an indefinite number on suspension, it's kind of excessive knowing where he came from, being part of the Bad Boys. So it's kind of hypocritical, but also shows you the fact that if you're paid high enough, and you're in that office where most players wish they would like to be, in that position, they're gonna do whatever they ask of you to do, whether you're for the boys or not. And unfortunately, it shows to the boys who are actually still playing, and the retired ones who are for the players. It shows a disconnect between the league office and the guys who are league officials, and the players who actually go out that field and work and basically put their bodies on the line weekly.
Right. Every week. Every week, bro. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And what Vince says here is perfect. A bigger issue for another day. It's on the players to stand together regarding the money, etc. Football Players Union is the worst in sports because guys get their money now and think they're good. And the problem
That's all
is
sports.
That is all sports, but it's more prevalent in football because in football, you don't have guaranteed contracts.
You don't.
The only thing you're guaranteed is what you're guaranteed at the signing and the guaranteed money overall. And some of that overall money is guaranteed against injury and whatnot. So it's like the real money is guaranteed at the signing. The rest of it is questionable in pending certain things. The overall value of the deal is always contingent upon you continuing to play and perform and produce at that level. And even if you do, and you ain't got no more guaranteed money left on your deal, they're going to want to cut you, trade you, restructure, whatever, like something like, hey, look, like we got to do something. Yeah. So it's like with football, it's different because of the way they get paid. So I could see why that would be an issue, but it's just, to me, I just see where a lot of people took the grandstanding of, oh, this was a terrible play and blah, 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 blah. And it's like you saw guys like Tom Brady and Kurt Warner say, hey, guys got to protect themselves when they're running and slide. You can't fake slide or slide late or what have you and do anything else and expect to continue to get sympathy. And the funny thing about it was two of the guys that were coming out in support of or saying, quarterbacks need to do better was Tom Brady and Kurt Warner, two notorious pocket passers who are not very athletic at all whatsoever. And now we have the other Dre. But yeah, man, it's like just, bruh, it's been crazy. And I just think that the league is very hypocritical because the league always talks about player safety and whatnot, but they're not consistent in the discipline of player safety. Because Texans GM Nick Caserio, like, you can say what you want to say about what DeMeco Ryan said. DeMeco probably changed his tune and said what he said because he knew what was coming. He probably already heard, saw, read, Zoom, whatever. He probably knew what was coming, and that's why he said his comments in his press conference. But the Texans GM Nick Caserio got in and he gave examples of a guy like a Kareem Jackson, a Derwin James, and I believe he gave examples of another player in the league recently who, had several violations and then had suspensions or what have you, like, different things like that, or just several suspensions before they got suspended as many games. And he laid it out perfectly. And I'm just like, they're not shying away from the fact that, it should be penalized and whatnot, and, maybe tossed from the game, but the length of the suspension is now where I'm starting to have an issue.
They should file. To me, they should file an appeal. But I know they probably might lose it. But at the same time, they should file an appeal with the league because that's excessive.
He did file the appeal. I need to, because I forgot to look that up. I was cooking again. Because it says NFL upholds his suspension. Yeah, they upheld the suspension a couple hours ago. So it is what it is, man. What can you do?
3 games, that's money out of a man's pocket.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It amounts to basically between the suspension and I can't remember how much the fines were. Between the suspension and the fines is going to be about 20% or so of his paycheck for this year. Because NFL players get paid every week of the regular season. It's typically on Tuesdays, which is normally their day off, is when they get paid. So every Tuesday of the regular season is when those paychecks hit. You get suspended. It's 3 Tuesdays you're missing paychecks. On top of that, the next paycheck or the previous paycheck, whatever it is, whenever the fine comes through, that paycheck is now missing whatever that fine or whatever that money is, typically, or however you do it. So you're missing 3, and a 4th is going to be short.
Yeah,
you only get 18. 4 of them are now impacted or gone.
Damn, so he in the middle like us, man.
This is what I'm saying. Scale that down, right? Scale that down and extrapolate that over like just let's just say 52. Let's say you get paid every Friday, right?
I actually do get paid Fridays.
Look. That means about 9 or 10 of 9 of your paychecks are basically gone if you get paid every Friday. So like once a month, almost
a third, more than a third is gone.
Look.
Nah, we got to fight. Like, bruh. See,
you get 52 a year, and 9 of them are gone.
Nah. They better come up with the rest.
Bro, I'm just saying. Like, it's crazy.
Either the team got me on the fines. Either the team better got me on the fines, or like, yo, I'm getting my money back somehow.
Vin brings up an interesting point. That's what I disagree with. I'm okay with the suspension, but he should keep his money still employee. But that's the collective bargaining agreement, though. That's how it works.
It's a CBA, baby.
And then you don't get paid.
It's a CBA.
It is not paid leave. It is not paid leave. That I'll think about that the next time. I bet he will, Clarence.
Yeah.
And you know,
that's today's NFL. You got to think twice.
And here's my other side to that, right? I would rather have a guy who plays up to or across the line than a guy who's afraid to even approach the line. If I got a guy that plays on the edge or a little bit over the edge, I would rather that than a guy who's too scared to get close to the edge. Because that little bit of fear, that little bit of doubt, that little bit of pull up, that little bit of I shouldn't do this, that little bit of second thought
will get him hurt worse.
Exactly. And it also changes your reaction time to things. So you could be the fastest, most athletic guy and have the best cone in shuttle drill there is. And that's the real agility, you know, damn the 40. The 40 just how fast can you run in a straight line? I want to know, can you plant cut, read the play, react, flip your hips, and go from a back pedal to, whatever. Like, that's stuff that I need to know. Don't want to get too deep in the weeds. But anyway, the whole thing is like, I'd rather have a guy who's going to go hard all the time and maybe go through the whistle than a guy who's going to pull up. Yeah. If I'm going to get some penalties, I'll get some penalties. We get some fines, we get some fines. Pray to God we don't get anybody hurt or anything like that. That's not what I'm asking for. That's not what I'm looking for. But I would rather have guys who are going to play hard and be physical instead of anything outside of that. And I mean, if you understand it, you understand it. If you don't, I can't break it down no simpler for you. I'm sorry. I tried. I really did.
Hey, you said it.
But my other thing is I would rather stand up for what I believe in and play how I decide to play than to always live with that fear or that regret or that what if, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, we've all played sports. And if you've played sports on any level or anything, you always have some sort of regret because 9 times out of 10, you didn't go out the champion. It's just not how it works. Most of the time, somebody goes out and everybody loses. There's only one champion every year.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times you go out and you don't win. You don't get a championship. You don't get that storybook ending or anything like that. You don't get that shining moment. So, you want to be able to say, hey, I laid it all out and I gave it my everything. And this is how my career ended up. And this is what I have to show for it or what have you. I would rather go out like that and be like, you know what? I gave it my all. To be like, you know what? Man, if I would have just did this, I could have just did this. Don't live like that. And that's why, like, as a Saints fan, for example, with the Minnesota Miracle, when Stephon Diggs got that pass and Marcus Williams missed that tackle, I felt really bad for Marcus Williams because typically he makes that play. And the game is over with. No big deal. The one time he happened to miss that play is the one time it cost him in the playoffs. What can you do? You can't do nothing about that. You could be mad in the moment, and I hated him. I was really like, I'm not gonna say I hated him. I was just like
it hurt in that moment.
It really stabbed me in a deep place and wounded me.
I'm sure in the back of his mind he felt the same thing too.
Oh, bro, he was in tears.
Yeah.
I remember his face after the game in the locker room when they talked. He was in tears, and I mean, when I saw that, I felt so bad for him. That's when all of that, like, a lot of that anger and stuff just went away because I see like how bad it hurt him to let his teammates down, and let the city down, and the fans down, and whatnot. The way he just, for him to even be on camera and like face the media and talk about it, and knowing that he's in that state of mind, and just, I was like, damn, man, I give him props because, like, I've been in that situation before. I've seen athletes after a tough loss in the locker room, and I'll never forget, it was a player for the Phillies who was like super pissed when they lost to the Astros one time. He was like still mad. Like, they give them a cool down period before we even go in the locker room, mind you. And this was towards the end of the media session, and he was still mad. Anyway, it was crazy, but I still remember that guy.
I felt
but like this happens, and it is what it is. But I just think that a lot of people are grandstanding and being self-righteous about this, and this isn't the type of player. Even though he may play to the edge, he isn't a dirty guy. He's a really nice guy. So he's not one of those dirty kind of players or nothing like that. I just think that them trying to characterize him as some sort of like monster or something like that, or like something that he's not. That's just not the case. That is definitely not the case. He may play hard, he may go a little bit overboard sometimes or whatever, but he's not like intentionally trying to like put another player out or hurt someone or take them away from their livelihood, their family, or what have you, or nothing like that. So let's not go at it like that. But I really need people to stop with the we'll just call it what it is, the extreme meat riding when it comes to piling on and whatnot, and just going overboard and the hot takes and all of that. Like, man, stop all of that. Like if y'all can just chill with perpetuating that culture, we can get back to actual facts and opinions and entertaining people instead of shocking people. And there's a difference. There's a huge difference. Entertaining and informing, and shocking and awing people. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Exactly. See what I'm saying, Sierra? It's another Dre in here causing trouble. It's like if it ain't one, it's the other one. It's always one of them though. Nah, man, but I like messing with them two guys, because that's like literally like a big brother and a little brother to me, for real. But
for sure.
nah, it's been a wild week though, in football, period. With teams in college football getting ready to play conference championship games, to jockey for playoff position and whatnot. So that's gonna really heat up this week. I mean, maybe a few places change here and there, but my thing is 12 teams have a shot at winning the national championship instead of 2 or 4.
Thank God.
Previously.
Thank God.
I didn't even want it to be this many this soon. It is what it is.
I was gonna say at least 6. Like, try it with 6.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like start with 6 before you start going out to 12.
Bruh, this is like okay, you know what? I can drink now. Oh, I can drink now. You know what? I'm gonna drink a whole bottle of Crown Royal tonight by myself. Whoa, pump your brakes, slow your roll. Like, you gotta crawl for your walk. You gotta walk for your run. You gotta run for your sprint. Like, there's a progression. You have to work your way up. One step. It's like that picture or that meme or whatever. You see a person where their foot is on the bottom step and then their other foot, they're trying to skip like 5 steps. That's what that's like to me. Slow down. We didn't need all of this. But they went straight to the head, bottles up, like, woo! And what's gonna be funny is that I think you're gonna get a lot of different teams in, but the overwhelming influx of teams from like the SEC or the Big Ten is still going to dominate. The big boys are still going to dominate. It doesn't matter if you go from 2 to 12. They're still going to dominate those spots. It just is what it is. We just have to get used to it.
And you don't need Nick Saban for it either.
Exactly.
You don't need him for it.
Exactly. And what's crazy is, and I've talked about this in the past with Keyz, with Dre, like Sloan, a bunch of us that have been on the pod, like we talked about it when Mika was here, I think too, like the way NIL money has changed the landscape of college sports. You saw a lot of those older coaches like, nope, I'm done. I'm out of here. I can't deal with this. I'm out of here. I'm done.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Some of the kids stay there longer because it's like,
bruh,
they stay there longer.
Bruh, listen. I saw Quinn Ewers, right? Quarterback that's at Texas, right? Quinn Ewers was, I believe he's out of Austin, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking this up right now. I'm just going off the top of my head. Quinn Ewers took the scholarship to Ohio State first. Went up there, scholarship, early entry, NIL money, boom, boom, boom. Couldn't beat out CJ Stroud. You know what? Peace. I'm out of here. Transfer portal. Going down to Texas. Goes to Texas. Boom. New NIL money. I'm going to wait here. Wait for my turn. Be the man for a couple years. Out of here. I'm going to the draft. Lo and behold, here comes Arch Manning.
Boy, that's my guy. listen. Arch Manning is my guy. Boy, I can't wait for him to get to the league. That's another quarterback I can't wait for.
Bruh.
Like, I can't wait for Arch Manning to show up in the NFL. Boy, did that boy, man, listen. That Manning family got some serious DNA when it comes to producing quarterbacks. That's all I gotta say. He even got to touch NFL money yet. The name Manning itself is money.
Bruh, let me tell you, bro. So, my little cousin, right? Lil Mike. And I put that in the strongest sense of air quotes, Lil Mike. Because Lil Mike is like 6'3", about 340 or so. Yeah, Lil Mike. That's Lil Mike.
Damn.
Yeah. Lil Mike made Big Mike look like he could have ate. Lil Mike could have eaten Big Mike.
Shit.
Yeah. That's how big Lil Mike was, and that's how small my uncle had got. Like, yeah. This is why, like, when I say, like, I had a picture of them two, him and my son, sitting on the sofa here, and I was like, does anybody need a wing player and an interior lineman? I got one if you need one. Look. Oh my God. Look. I got one if you need one. They're good kids. They're respectful. You know, they like to help out. They like projects and stuff. They, you know, good kids. But anyway, nah, man. But them dudes, like they just, I don't know, but it was just crazy because the way NIL has changed things, it made guys, it kind of changed the way guys think and the way they act and the way they perceive things. Because back in the day, could you see an Arch Manning being who and what he was, and then trying to go to Texas and say, I'm going to sit behind someone else for a couple years? No, hell no. I want to go somewhere where I can play, where I can start putting up numbers, so that way I can be the first pick in the draft and get my money.
Yeah.
Now it's like, wait a minute. I can get paid. I ain't got to have all the weight on my shoulders immediately. I can slow roll my way into this. I'm going to just look for the best situation for me and for my growth and development and to win when I do get my chance and my shot. Because I don't have to worry about the financial part of it because that's going to come. And you can see guys that get the one hot year and boom, you Heisman Trophy, first pick in a draft, big money contract quarterback. We've seen it happen time and time again. Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. Come on now. Like, let's not act like, and these are all quarterbacks in this era of this spread offense in college football.
Yeah.
So let's not act like we haven't seen this happen before where these guys, they may have a little movement around, sit behind a couple guys. You have one good year, at least one solid Heisman Trophy winning or contending year. Top 5 pick. Boom. Done.
Easily.
Easy. And you know, it's crazy because that's just the way the game is being played now, to where it's so much the same, college to NFL, to where that spread offense, shotgun formations and stuff, it's not foreign to the league anymore. It's pretty commonplace now.
And I think you need that. And I think that's the same thing that's starting to roll over into college basketball, where it's like some players don't necessarily have to come out early anymore, because most players, when they did the one and done rule, they was like, I'm just gonna be here for a year, not go to class, and just collect a check. Now it's, I could get some money, be a kid for a little while longer, and then when I'm fully developed and ready to go to the league, I can contribute right away. I'm happy the fact that that's the one benefit of the NIL that's helped the players of today. Because back then it was like, all right, I got to get this money and screw the development. It's like, oh, no, I could get hurt this and the third, but now I can get paid. I can learn. By the time that I get to the league, I don't have to use the G League as a pipeline anymore. I don't have to use, the CFL as a pipeline, or go to Australia to play football as a pipeline anymore.
Right.
Like, right. I don't even need the USFL. I can just basically just stay in college as long as I want. Well, within the 4-year time frame. Some do it for 5. But go to school for that time frame, and if I'm ready to come out, and if I mastered the game at that point, the pros won't be too difficult, because now when I go to the pros, they're not expecting, you have to develop at this. You already got it. So I think that's what what's going on in football now is definitely going to benefit basketball and other sports as well as it goes. But the one sport that I do know that hasn't been, is not going to change as much as baseball, because you're basically a pro as soon as you leave high school. You're just in a different league until you're ready for the majors. But for football, especially from college football to NFL, they run the same stuff now. It's not like there's no innovative offenses anymore. We basically seen every iteration of the offense. We've seen the West Coast offense. We've seen the run game. We've seen this and the third. So now that you see nothing but spread offenses now in the NFL, it's basically just copy, rinse, repeat. The only difference is your talent has to supersede everything that's basic in the NFL right now.
Well, there's some, like, I'll say this: it's not all the same. It's a lot of the same. Some have the same principles, basically. But like, you can, like, there's even power run formations out of shotgun and pistol. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we've just totally gone away from old school football, because there's still a lot of old school football principles in these formations. It's just presented in a different package, basically. And it's just like, if you look at the way shoes, cleats, or anything like that has developed over the years, it's still footwear to help the athlete accomplish whatever the sport or whatever is. It's just presented in a different package. It's more athletic. It fits you better. It makes you run faster, jump higher, stick and plant, move, whatever it is. It's the exact same thing. It's just in a different package. And you're still trying to get mismatches. You're still trying to take advantage of the defense if you're an offense. And if you're the defense, you're trying to confuse and, throw off and turn over the offense. Football is always going to be football at its principles. It just kind of looks a little bit different. And so people think it's weird or funny or out of the box or what have you. But it's like, that's the lifelong chess match of watching a game grow over time. And if you think about it, you look at like any sport or competition, even with something as simple as not as simple, but something like chess. Chess has been around for centuries. It hasn't really changed because there's certain strategies and stuff to it. But then there's always somebody who comes up with something new and different. Football hasn't been around, that long comparatively to other things. Basketball, baseball, these sports haven't been around as long as you think as some other, like track and field, wrestling, boxing. They've been around much, much longer. And when you throw them all together and you mix them together and you have mixed martial arts, you can just claim, the beginning of whatever one-on-one combat was. So you have to think about it in the grand scheme of things. Like, yeah, we're going to see some innovations, but also we're still going to see some old school principles still involved. And that's what I like about the way things are when it comes to college football, because you see some innovations and you see some new things, and then you start to see that at the pro level. But you still see like some old school like option stuff, like the read option, for example. Great play. It's similar to the old school triple option that you would see out of the wing T that Nebraska used to run back in the early 90s. So it's still cool. It's still interesting. And like you talked about basketball earlier, we could transition into that because like people have a problem with positionless basketball nowadays. And I'm just like, you've seen versions of this before. You just don't want to admit that you saw it and that this is what this was. And when I get people who are my age or older, typically in their 40s, 50s, some people in their, mid to late 30s may get like this as well. And they talk about, when this was going on, and you had big men and you had this and you had that, blah, 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 whatever it was. And I'm just like, do you not realize, like, you can't have like some 7-foot stiff just out there just cause it don't work like that?
No, it does work. His name is Rudy Gobert.
See, I knew it was gonna be something. I was just like, when? Hey, bro.
But to add to that, now you're right, because when people say, well, positionless basketball, it's like, you've seen this before. Like, if you look back into the 70s, there were teams that the pace was even higher in the 80s than it is today. Pace in the early 70s and the 60s, Bill Russell's Celtics were basically the Celtics of today, except they didn't have the 3-point shot that they abused back then. Like pace is always going to be the only difference is the players are better shooters mechanically. They say they're more skilled, sure, but the fundamentals of the game were more prevalent back then compared to today, because today is more of three things. You can shoot a three, you can just drive in the lane, and that's it. There's not much creativity in terms of what today's players have learned, which is why people like Joker have manipulated the game to his will, the way he has manipulated the game, from what I've seen from his standpoint over the last few years. Like, there should be no reason why a person like back in the 90s, like a player like Joker would be Arvydas Sabonis and Vlade Divac. People say Larry Bird can't play today. You have Luka Doncic. People say Steph couldn't play. You have Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf or Chris Jackson as his given name. People forget, like, these iterations may not have been as prevalent or as in your face as it is today, but it was definitely back then. For every Chris Paul, you can say a Tiny Archibald or Isaiah Thomas. Like, these things do parallel. It may not parallel in terms of the volume that you see today, but it exists the same way. Just because you don't see the triangle offense anymore doesn't mean that you still don't see it. Like, I still see the Warriors, like the Warriors. They run a variation. They run a variation of the triangle offense, just with more pick and rolls. The triangle is more so about movements. That's all. The schematic. It's always about motion,
and
cuts.
Swing the ball, backdoor cuts, mismatches. Exactly.
The only thing now is they just use pick and roll. Yeah, just moving around. Just more pick and rolls. That's the only thing.
Thank you. It's the same.
It's the same thing.
Principles.
Like, if you see people like Mike Brown still runs a variation of the Princeton offense. He still runs variations of the Princeton offense when he was with Cleveland with LeBron. Like, LeBron, most of his early career was Princeton offense learned under Mike Brown.
And that's how he got a lot of easy assists,
easy buckets, and for Eric Spoelstra still runs parts of Jack McKinney's offense from the 70s. That Pat Riley made famous as Showtime. But he still, but to be honest, the Heat, because they're such a lower scoring team at times with their personnel, they still operate the same way when Pat Riley arrived almost 30 years ago. The only difference is the players are a little more skilled now in terms of what their skill sets are, because you have specialists and the actual impact players. Your impact player is your 5-man, but at the same time, I don't even think Bam knows who the hell he is at times in terms of what player he wants to be, unless if his name is not Asia, unless he's not with Asia Wilson. But
hey yo,
hey man, if I was Bam, I get it. That's a 3-time MVP and a fun basketball player.
Brother, good brother.
Listen.
Brother.
That's the MVP right there.
Brother.
Listen.
Brother.
I'm sorry they didn't win the championship this year. I get it. I get it. You're the reason why she got tired this year and then repeat.
We all get it.
We all get it, brother.
We all get it.
Listen, I get it. Listen, man. Man, we get it. And he didn't do a good job hiding it either.
No, not at all. Hey,
I respect it. I fucks with it. I mess with it.
It is.
It is what it is.
Real quick, man, some breaking news. I'll get to the good breaking news first. In college basketball, we got an upset. Major upset. Number 1 Kansas goes down to Creighton, unranked Creighton, 76-63. They didn't just beat them; they whipped their ass.
Yeah, and when it comes to college basketball, when it's those scores, you got your ass beat.
It's early season, and so the loss won't have like that great of an impact. College basketball isn't like college football. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You can have a loss like this early in the season, and it
And
have little to no impact of you, depending on how you finish out the rest of your season.
No.
It just is what it is.
You just got to win out the rest of your games, though.
Right. You ain't got time to play. So it was and it was one of those things where Creighton led at the half 41-31. So it wasn't even like they piled it on at the end or anything like that. And they still outscored Kansas by 3, 35-32 in the second half. So that made up your 13-point win. So they got out, jumped out, boat raced them, and then just coasted and kept the lead. Basically, is what looks like happened in that game. But yeah, number one Kansas goes down to Creighton, 76-63.
That's crazy.
They were led by their junior guard Pop Isaacs at 27 on 10 of 15 shoot. So. Shout out to Pop Isaacs for the Creighton Blue Jays beating the Kansas Jayhawks. So we got bird on bird violence.
Nice.
The other bit of breaking news, not as fun and happy go lucky or what have you. All-star guard for the Seattle Storm, Jewel Lloyd, has requested a trade from the team. Going by ESPN's report, first reported by the Chicago Sun-Times, the request comes hours after the Storm announced that an external investigation into reported accusations, of harassment and bullying by the team's coaching staff had concluded without finding any violations.
That's not the first time I've heard stories coming from the WNBA about coaches being abusive to their players.
Bro, it's something that's been going on for some time, I'm guessing. There's got to be something going on.
Because everybody can't be lying.
That's the thing. Where there's smoke, there's got to be some fire somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's not like it's not one of those things like, you know, where you think like, nah, they probably lying, they BSing, it can't be, you know, it can't be real or what have you. No, there's got to be something to this, because you don't have players who go to the league and or team and complain, or the Players Association and complain. You don't have all-stars requesting trades from a team that was a pretty good team and looking to build a solid future. You know, you don't have this type of whirlwind of activity and whatnot and talk around your team if there isn't something to what's being said.
Considering how the season started and how it ended, they actually went to the playoffs. Like, because
Right.
they didn't start the season off hot, and they finished off
Right.
with a flurry. And listen, they may have won at least a game, but at the same time, they showed that despite the season that they were having, they overcame and overachieved. And for that to happen, to lose someone of that caliber, with the expansion draft coming, do you think that could possibly play a factor? Because, you know, because Golden State has a team now, has the female affiliate team that's out there, in the Bay. So like, that could be something to look into as well. Because obviously, if you're trying to break in a new team, especially in the West Coast, they start asking out. And that's a team that already has at least enough salary cap to absorb whatever she might have.
True.
I mean, it's just something to think about. So,
and you know, I wonder also, like, when things like this come out, you know, does it open up and empower people to start talking more about like front office and coaching staff abuse and things like that. Because even though you're a professional athlete, you're under a contract with the team itself, and that means whoever owns and runs the team, those coaches and the staff and the doctors and front office people and whatnot, they work for the team just like you do. So basically they're your coworkers. Even though some coaches and stuff may be in a somewhat of a superior position, they're still your coworkers. So we work together. I don't work for you. We work with one another. So why don't we all do our jobs and collaborate instead of fighting? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I think that sometimes in those positions, people tend to take advantage of it or whatever. And if you get people who feel like they can't help it or they feel helpless or whatever, then they won't really fight back. And it's not until you get a group of them that say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna take this. I'm not gonna take this shit.
And another thing with the W, which is unfortunate, the biggest news that they got the biggest traction they got most of this year during the season was because of Caitlin Clark, right? Mm-hmm. And prior to that, despite, and I mentioned Asia Wilson earlier, as great as she's been, as great as Maya Moore has been, not much eyes have been on the product in terms of the positive aspect of what the game for them has been. Mm-hmm. The attention is always around controversy and or situations like this. And when it comes to situations like this, what sucks is the fact that this is a story that does come out, but it won't be highlighted as much when you want to bring it to like regular talk show. Like say for instance, this they talk about it tomorrow. Like Shams talks about it on First Take. That topic will not be talked about unless if Stephen A brings it up and you have like people like Kimberly Martin or Monica McNutt to come on and speak on the issue. This should be something that should be like breaking news on Sports Center, not put onto the side, especially when abuse is being, talked about. Hell, the NBA covered, a block time on Sports Center for less when it came to breaking news. So the WNBA should deserve a lot more notoriety in terms of like, okay, if this is going on, it should be reported as such. Granted, I get it. They're not the NBA in terms of, popularity or traction in terms of news, but those women are athletes. They're progressing the game with their play. Mm-hmm. They should be treated as such too. Just because the salaries may not be, Jaylen Brown's current contract with the Celtics being worth $300 million doesn't mean the fact that those ladies that go overseas just to even make some of that money on the back end to play between May and October, they should be commended for that, and for the league to continue to grow. Like when you have things like that going in the background, that's not basketball. That should be talked about. It shouldn't fall on the job of the NBA players to bring that to the forefront in terms of raising the popularity or raising awareness to the W. Mm-hmm. It should be on the people in charge, and the fact that they're not doing that, it's also counterproductive in terms of when things like this does happen, in terms of abuse or front office, a miscommunication or conflict that could be easily rectified. Because I can tell you this right now. That issue that Jewel Lloyd had with the Storm, I guarantee you, that's been an ongoing situation. Everybody in that party knows exactly what happened. It's been going on for a long time. And it's only now that they're reporting it because it's relevant, because she wants to leave. Because during the season, there was rumblings of the same thing, and it fell on deaf ears. And now that we're bringing it back here as a breaking news aspect, that should be talked about on SportsCenter right now as we speak. Like when they're basically covering, we had, the Jimmy Valvano night, college basketball, this Jimmy V night, this and the third, or the NBA, had a couple games on tonight. Cool. But that should be a story because it is a sports story, and because they're women and they're already underappreciated enough as is. It won't see the light of day and people giving a damn because it's like, it's just the WNBA. They'll sort the shit out.
I mean, they put it out as a breaking news tweet on their main Twitter. ESPN did. That's how come I got the alert, because I got the account set up to where certain tweets alert me or whatever on the podcast account. So that way we try to stay up on stuff. And if you follow us at Sucio Sports with a Z on Twitter, and I believe it's at Sucio_sports on Instagram, you'll see like we put out retweets, quote tweets, what have you, memes, sports opinions. We also will put out highlights of every episode after every episode. So if you stay tuned to our Twitter and our Instagram, I still got to set up the TikTok to put out the videos on TikTok also. You're looking for that to come soon. But anyway, no, man, it's just. I think people are starting to pay more attention to the WNBA. It's becoming more of an issue that you can't escape. And before, I believe it was something that was easily suppressed because there weren't as many eyes and ears on the product, like you were saying. And now that there's more eyes and ears on the product, I think more people are starting to listen or hear. That could be a factor in this. Because I'm sure that there's been other stories in the WNBA about different things that's going on, different controversies and whatnot, but we hardly ever heard about them.
Like how Teaspoon got fired from Chicago there was a lot of background stuff on that should have never happened. And the fact that the front office never backed her when she did the best job she could during that season, and you traded away your best player in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
Like, what did you expect Teaspoon to do with that team? Outside of Andrew Reese and Camila Cardoso, like, what else are you expect him to do, especially as rookies coming into the game with a rebuilding team?
You put her at a tremendous disadvantage,
and you fire her when things actually go somewhere good. Like,
and you took your prized rookies, especially Angel Reese, and Teaspoon developed a real bond that year. And Angel Reese loves Teaspoon. Like, she talked about it all the time, like how Teaspoon was her rock during that season for her. Especially coming off the season that she just had with LSU, where she had to take a break because of, her mental health and whatnot. To come off of that and then boom, right into high-profile WNBA rookie in a high-profile WNBA city with a high-profile media market.
Yeah, Chicago's a crazy market.
So I'm just saying, like, you're just gonna ignore that in lieu of, like, we're gonna bring in someone else. I mean, unless this person comes in and does tremendously better the next season with whatever they give her or him, whoever it is, I don't even know who it is, but unless they come in and make this great improvement, okay, cool. But if you don't make a great improvement on what you've already done or on what's already been done with this team, with this roster as presently constructed right now, then I got a problem with you. Simply because you got rid of a good coach who had a bond with your best player, one of your best players, I'll say. I won't get into that. One of your best players, and you got rid of her because what?
Politics.
I don't get it. I really don't get it, bro. It doesn't make sense to me, man. And like, it gotta make sense to me. Like, it don't even make money sense to me because, like, you're getting rid of her and now you got to hire somebody else in their staff.
You still got to pay Spoon because you paid it for an extensive contract.
That's what I'm saying. Like it just I don't know, bro. Like it moves like that sometimes in the WNBA baffle me. One thing that Keyz and I used to talk about WNBA moves that would baffle us was when you would get these second round picks or sometimes first round picks that get cut from teams as rookies. And I was like, that one I can almost get only because it's a money thing with the cap and whatnot. Right?
And their cap is
tight. There is no like balloon, let's go above it, blow it out the water. We'll pay the luxury. Ain't no luxury tax. Ain't no luxury tax.
It ain't no money.
It's just what I'm saying. We operate at a deficit, so we trying to get in the clear as much as possible. Tough decisions have to be made. Unfortunately, that's the way. That's where they are. Here's to hoping that they get that all figured out at some point in time, or what have you.
They could just bring it to the Liberty.
Bruh.
Listen, I waited 27 years, like, and just for a chip.
Look, bruh, I'm happy for you, man. I'm really happy for y'all because, like, seriously, like,
I watched with Teaspoon. Like, Teaspoon was she got me into watching the WNBA. Like when she made when she made that like half court shot to keep the series alive against the Comets. I ain't gonna front, like the Comets whipped our ass the first couple years. Like, no, but what could you do? You had basically the Fantastic Four. You had Swoops, you had Cooper, you had Thompson. You had like that team, the team that Les Alexander put together in Houston. Those first three,
rest in peace.
Boy, that team, like that team. Man. I ain't gonna front that team today. They probably beat the Liberty today because they had everybody. I'm not joking. Like, come on, Jermaine. This is us talking.
You're right. I'm not arguing with you at all, man, because like, I'm just thinking back on that team and
Coop
like
was dangerous and Swoops. Swoops had her own shoe.
Bruh, let me tell you, bro.
Like the W back in the day, like
let me tell you,
boy, there was some hoopers back then. People
Cynthia Cooper is. She's such like a figure or whatever, right? To the point, like
she's a god.
When she was coaching at TSU, she would have people that would come to the games just to see her coach. Like there would be people that would come just to see her coach or whatever. Bro, shout out, rest in peace to my guy, Craig Shelton. Craig's name on sports radio here in Houston was Lesbian Craig. The reason why he was called Lesbian Craig was because at the time, Cheryl Swoops,
I remember,
that's when she was into women.
I remember.
Craig always had a thing for Cheryl Swoops, and he would always swear his love for Cheryl Swoops, even when she was with women. Henceforth, he got the name Lesbian Craig.
She's aged gracefully, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Rest in peace to Craig, man. Craig was a character.
Now, Cheryl Swoops aged gracefully,
bro.
Cause I see her in Gil's Arena, like, you know, when I'm at work, like last couple hours of work, and I see her like when she has her teeth. I ain't gonna front. She hate Caitlin Clark. she can't stand that white girl. But I look at Cheryl Swoops because she was the first generation of the W when, like, you know, they first came in,
right?
And Lisa Leslie, like back then. It was different. How people view women back then to be how people view women now. Like women back then was it's a different glow with them.
Yeah.
That they've carried over to their current age now that certain girls say they don't have.
Yeah.
Like Cheryl Swoops had that glow, that aura to her. Like her Cynthia Cooper, like yo, the way Tina Thompson, like she was the first person I know to wear bright red lipstick and bust your ass on a
she was a legit like 6'2", 6'3" banger. Like
she would abuse Vicky Johnson every time they played against New York, bro. Like
she would body her.
Like Rebecca Lobo had to retire early because of that.
I'm talking about like catching in the post, 2 hands. She'll put her shoulder in your chest and go up on you, or she would like catch it, turn around, face up, and she had a face up game too. Like Tina Thompson was a bad girl, and she was like, if you could like a Ultimate male Hooper equivalent, I would say like, I don't know, bro. Like maybe like a Tim Duncan or something, because it was like she
had all the fundamentals.
She was a big banger, but she was very good fundamentally and could make plays out of that, power forward or forward center or whatever.
It kept her playing a long time. Like she played a long time. Like it kept her playing like a very long time. Cynthia Cooper, like she came in like the way her game was. I shit you not. I often think, what would have happened if Cheryl Miller never got hurt and was able to play with those Comets? They would never lose.
Bruh. Let me tell you something.
Like Cheryl Miller retired way too early.
I remember Van Chancellor, the coach of the Comets back then, right? Would talk for this seafood place called Sudi's Catfish. It closed down. I want to say it was one of the victims of the pandemic or something like that. Maybe, but I can't remember. But there was one on the north side, one all the way on the south side of I-45. Pretty good, pretty decent catfish. Like, I'm not gonna lie, pretty decent seafood. I'm not gonna lie. But there would have probably been Sudi's Catfish all over this city. And there would have been all kind of other sorts of things all over this city. And that team would have never left this city. Had they come to an agreement on the arena and this and that and blah, 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 blah. The Rockets and the city and everything. Whatever else led to them, leaving and dissolving.
Oh yeah, I forgot because they played at the Summit, which they renamed the Compact Center.
Right.
Before the Toyota opened.
Right. And it was a whole thing. But anyway.
Listen, man, I may be young, but I know my timelines now. So
I know you know your stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, man, I grew up as it was happening.
Again, this is why
I know my shit.
This is why I brought you on. Like, this is exactly why. But the only other thing that I need to get us to and hit on real quick before we get out of here is MLB has this idiotic rule.
I was about to ask you about it.
Too, right?
Yeah.
The golden at-bat rule. Cliff Notes version, basically one time in a game, in any situation a team feels like they can just say X player gets to come up to at bat right now. We don't give a damn where he's at in the lineup. We don't care if he just got out. We don't care if he's up next. We don't care if he's been scratching his ass in the dugout for 9 innings. We want this guy to come up at bat right now in this situation. We don't give a damn what you say. That's basically what it is.
It's a cheat code.
Rob Manfred is a fucking idiot.
You know what's funny? I'm not gonna hold you because
that's all I got. I have nothing else to say about this. I'm trying not to get kicked off of YouTube, is what I'm trying.
Copy.
I don't. I know this is bad for Apple and Spotify, y'all. I'm sorry, but like I don't. I feel like Ricky Bobby right now. I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands? Like my hands. I don't know what to do with my words because it's just that
it's a lot.
Bruh, like I understand y'all are trying to capture a younger audience and you're trying to get more of that younger demographic and bring more fans in of the age range of the players that you have and try to attract players and attract fans of these players and whatnot. Like, hey, look at what we got going on over here. We're baseball. And we used to be America's pastime. Look at us.
Yeah.
You're just not doing it. And trying gimmick shit like this with the game isn't going to do it. Now, you cut down on the average runtime of games, and I'll applaud you for that shit because you should have instituted a pitch clock long goddamn time ago.
Games are faster.
People can watch now because it's like, hey, instead of tuning in for 3.5 hours, I only have to tune in for 2.5, maybe 3 hours. A typical NFL football game will get you about
2.5,
2:45. Maybe 3 hours. They allot 3 hours for it on TV.
I mean, most of it, well, half of it's usually, people talking during intermission is usually that.
Commercial breaks and different stuff like that.
And pregame.
Yep. But on a NFL game for the broadcast, just the game itself, they allot about 3 hours, sometimes 3 hours and 15 minutes or so, roughly. For baseball, they would still do like 3 hours. But with baseball, it would be like you would be buttoned up against it sometimes. With football, sometimes you were good. College football, you can forget about it. Sometimes college football will be a 4-hour game, and it's like, whatever. But
NBA games are starting to get longer. Because most, not in terms of the game time, most of it's the theatrics of it all. Because it's like the pregame is like extra long, and it's like, all right, you guys say, all right, bet. The game starts at 7, and I gotta wait till 7:15 for actual tip off. And it's just like, okay, after the tip off, you're doing a like 15 to 20 minute like intermission when it's like usually just 10 minutes at most, but 13 if you count the commercial blocks. Then you get back to the game. And it's like you pay to most fans pay to basically just watch the game in person. But as a viewer, I'm trying to watch the game play out because you're stopping the flow of the game. And when certain teams come back from halftime, they're either cold because of the fact that the game was held off too long, or the fact that, the way the game is officiated, especially recently with the way these things have been hacked and called, you're increasing the flow, you're increasing the game, stopping the game, rather than enjoying the flow of the game, whether it's a high-paced game or it's a defensive-minded game. Like, the officiating is also contributed to the increase of making the game longer than it has to be. It's like, all right, I'm here for 2.5 max. 2:15 if it's like a blowout. Let's get it out of here. The refs, fans don't pay to watch you guys officiate the game a certain way and hog up the flow of the game. They invest their time watching the product because they want to see the game played out in a certain way. If they see two teams, like for instance, yesterday, we saw the Knicks and the Magic play. That was two teams it wasn't about it was no gimmicks, no fluff. It was just two teams going at it.
Right.
That's how the game should be. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, all right, I'm just going to come down, shoot a three. No, I got to make you earn it.
Right. You want to see two teams fight it out, basically, and be physical.
It's like even if you whip my ass by 30, I'm not gonna. You're gonna earn this 30.
Right. Right.
That's what
It's not just gonna be given to you.
Like,
And
yeah,
that, I love that. I love because
that.
we were watching it, like we like we had the game on, and then we were changing it and going back and forth between a couple of different games and stuff we were watching and whatnot. And we ended up watching, I think, the Mavs and the
that was a good game. The Grizzlies.
Oh, the Mavs and the Grizzlies. Yeah. We were watching that one for a little while,
that
and
was
then
a good game.
started watching a couple other games. I mean, man, kids had me watching like 4 different games yesterday. I can't even remember.
All I gotta say is, if Houston does keep this up, your OKC, watch out.
Look, man. Look here.
I was like, I was like, Ime Udoka, you can have all the white women in Texas you want. They got fat asses and no one in Massachusetts.
Why you have to go there? I'm trying to talk about basketball.
We are talking
What's
about
going on that 94 by 53 court on the hardwood.
Hey, listen, right now,
not the hard wood.
Hey, listen.
The hardwood.
What Ime Udoka's doing on the sidelines is helping the Rockets on the hardwood
court.
On the court, Jalen Green
basketball
is hooping.
Court.
Well, Jalen Green ain't got no other choice to hoop because he got like 3 baby mamas, and one of them is an old ass Dre, I believe. You know, like Dylan Brooks out here like hooping because he knew Drake smashed his girl. Like, come on now, like, bruh.
Hey, man.
Fred VanVleet is playing because he's like, yo, I do this for my seed, like. You know,
I'm a good wholesome dude. I'm just out here hooping on a max contract.
That's
like
what
I'm
I'm saying.
living life.
Josh Christopher, not Josh, like you got people on your team. Tafari Eason, rebounding, playing good defense.
You got Tari Eason and Amin Thompson, the Terror Twins.
The half that can actually shoot, the twin that can actually shoot a little bit.
Look.
Cause I'm man, he can't shoot for shit.
Oh god!
But he can defend. He can defend though, and that's one thing I like about certain teams this season. Like in terms of basketball, I look at Detroit. Even though you know they're not gonna make a playoff run, they're competing. Orlando without Paolo competing. As much as I hate that Propecia El DeBarge looking motherfucking Trae Young in Atlanta. Dyson Daniels has been the partner he's been looking for since that 2021 season.
Hey, yo, Trae Young is going on the graphic for the show now. I'm trying to think of other people we could put on there. Trae Young.
And he's hooping right now. But come Tuesday, that's the revenge game I'm looking for because you're not doing this shit twice to me.
Bruh.
Trae Young ain't gonna come in the guard thinking shit is sweet. Nah.
Hey man.
Fuck all that.
Hey man.
We got a point guard this time. He ain't gonna bust your ass.
Hey man, look here, dog. Look here.
And I want the Knicks and Rockets in the Cup Finals though. I want Knicks Rockets. For the culture.
You want Knicks Rockets for the culture?
No.
You want this because you want us to have the little back and forth this again. That's what you looking for.
No. Honestly, yo, Jermaine.
I know this.
Hey, listen, Jermaine, I swear on my Patrick Ewing jersey. No, you're right. But at the same time, I swear on my Patrick Ewing jersey. I want to see it for the culture. If you win, cool. Like I want the real cup. I want the real championship. But winning this it will be a good thing in their step in terms of what they made those trades for this past summer. For the Rockets, it's more so like they're fun. That's what it's gonna feel like.
Hey, bro. This is like my favorite closeout music because this brings me back to my youth. I'll say. I'm not even gonna say childhood, adulthood, whatever hood it is. I'll just say back in the day.
That was my childhood.
But this is what this reminds me of because it's brought back interest into pre-Christmas NBA basketball. And hate it or love it, It's here. It's gonna stay because it's also a ratings and marketing ploy.
It makes the trash teams actually want to compete.
You have $500,000 on the line, and you heard LeBron say that he wants to get the guys on the bottom of the roster that bonus, and then you heard some other. Now you hear Jalen Brunson say it. Then you hear Josh Hart saying, "Well, shit, hell with them. I'm gonna buy me a watch. I'm gonna buy me a watch." Like, so. And I love. I have to like dig into more and listen to more of their podcasts just because of the dynamics of their relationship and whatnot and their different personalities.
They are funny.
To see like they're best friends and they've been knowing each other all these years and whatnot, and they're like kind of like they're in the same part of life where they're young professionals growing up together and doing their thing or whatever, but they're like two different people moving on the same wavelength, kind of. It's pretty interesting, but
I'm not gonna hold you. Like I want that. I like that's what's watching a team like Detroit, Atlanta, Orlando, Cleveland with their start. Like Oklahoma City. If they were in Seattle, I would love that team. If they were the Seattle Supersonics, if that team was in Key Arena right now and Gary Payton's jersey and Kemp's jersey's retired.
Do not get me started.
And listen, they should, as much as George Karl's an asshole, his jersey should be, retired too in terms of the wins he brought that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That team, those teams, like if OKC was in Seattle, I would love that team because they remind me of those Seattle teams. Shea is like a taller, slender GP. They may not have a Kemp, but you do got a Detlef Schrempf, and Chet Holmgren, but taller. You have guys off the bench who could be your Eric Snow, your Nate McMillan, your Sam Perkins. You have those guys on that team. And Mark Daigneault reminds me a little bit of a George Karl in how they play fast, how they play defense, and how they play together. But the best thing about why they're so good is because, unlike George Karl, he infuses life into his team and allows them to basically play free without the consequences. Even when they do mess up, they know they got the backing of their coach.
Bro, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Bruh.
You see it all come together and stuff. And
league's in good hands.
It is. It really is. And where people say they lack stars or they lack this or they lack that, no, you just don't know these guys yet, the ones that are up and coming and whatnot, and the ones that are next, and the ones that are going to be the new torchbearers for the league moving forward. So you got to dive into it. And that's something that Keyz and I have said like the last couple of years. We keep saying it. We're going to dive more into men's basketball and try to, pay more attention and focus on them and the storylines and whatnot, because the women's game has just been more interesting.
Starting Five was a good starting point on the Netflix series. I just do think that if you're going to continue to do it, I would advise the NBA and Spring Hill, who obviously LeBron's people who do the show, I would just tell them, if you're really about marketing the league in a certain way to get these new stars, because obviously LeBron's like Undertaker right now. He's waiting for someone to say, all right, I'm willing to take the torch and everything that comes with it, because I think that's part of the reason why he's still hanging on, because it's like no one has really stepped up to take it. Steph might be the one, but at the same time, he does not generate what he could generate.
Well, the other thing too is Steph is like right behind LeBron.
He's right behind him.
They're like, hey, like look, but all of them, they're like, look, I don't know how much longer we like. They may not want to admit it or say it themselves, and LeBron is starting to this season. Like within the last couple of days, he's talking about his bad shooting streak or whatever. But KD and Steph, like, bruh, y'all 36, 37 years old or whatever now. Like, and the injuries are piling up, and you're missing more and more games, and you're you're not playing up to that level that you're used to playing when you are healthy. So it's like, hey, it's the career, the sun is starting to set.
Father time.
Undefeated.
Father Time. I think the last time I truly seen Father Time in an athlete was probably Tom Brady when he was with the Bucks. Where it was like that last year, you knew it was done. Like I see it with Aaron Rodgers right now. You know?
Yeah, it's he can't move, bro. He cannot move.
Father Time is undefeated.
He cannot move. He cannot move.
If Braun cut weight, maybe he could like salvage whatever he has left. But it's like so much of his game at this point of his career is his strength. And I think if he would find a way to kind of at least get down to at least, because I know he's not 260. That man's 270. Like that man's built like a wrestler at this point. Like he's built like Deontay Wilder, like legit. And Deontay Wilder is a heavyweight boxer. LeBron's a basketball player. Like Karl Malone was like 6'9", 270. Like you can tell by them. Like you can tell Karl Malone looked like a professional wrestler.
Right. Like it was no mistake about it. It was like, you know, what the fuck is this? Like
you saw Anthony Mason, God rest his soul, during his like, see how like he was a silverback gorilla, bro. Like he could have been a fullback playing football.
On everything, you had him playing next to Charles Oakley at one point.
Like, bro,
it was like you had two like NFL defensive ends playing forward in the NBA. Like that. And Jordan
had to go through that just to get to the cup.
Bruh.
Like Jordan had to get to that to get to the cup. Like to see that with Braun is like,
it's insane, dog. It's insane.
With Braun, I just think that because he relies so much on his physicality at this stage of his career is probably why his longevity has prevailed for so long. And I also think the fact that LeBron's still dead tired. He did play a whole Olympics where he just went complete all out in games that meant more to him than his last championship in the bubble. You know, right now he's doing his best he's doing his best Magic impression and thinking that he can still do this. I applaud the triple doubles, but when some of the triple doubles are like 19 points per game, and part of it is also JJ Redick basically learning how to conserve Bron. Mm-hmm. But the best way to do that is setting him down, finding better ways for him to kind of just, you know, get within the offense. And for LeBron, who's a freak athlete, I'd probably find a way to see if I can cut some weight to kind of at least get some of that mobility and get some of that that can help him in the long run. Because I understand you're almost 40, and yes, Father Time is undefeated.
but I'm gonna put it to you like this here.
Your locomotive, man. You got, you know, the tracks. Yeah, man. Let's just say it's about that time, brother.
It is about that time, and it's about that time for us to cut it loose here, brother. I have enjoyed having you on. There was a reason why I brought you on, and I knew it would entertain the people. Appreciate it. Let them know where you at, where they can find you, and what you got going on.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at his name is King. There's mad underscores, but the tagline just says Raymond Reddington. That's my alias, but my real name is Randy. Also, you can find the group Shop Business NYC on Twitter. You can also find our actual our wrestling podcast at the Backstage Brawl on Twitter, Backstage_Brawl. We're the Backstage Brawl on Facebook. We're on Blue Sky as well. We're on YouTube, and we just did a watch along of Survivor Series. Go check that out on YouTube. And we'll be back this week because we got to talk about what happened on Monday. You know, no need to explain what happened on Monday. We know. Jada Parker making NXT UPN. And you know, and some hijinks because, you know, we usually like to have a good time when we're talking wrestling, but at the same time, you know, we talk good stuff there too. So, you know, we have an open invite for anybody, any podcaster, you know, who talks raps and just have, you know, and who's a wrestler who would like to come on. please give us, please just hit us up, and we'll just love to have you on, and just create a good environment just to talk wrestling and have a good time.
Yes, Sierra, you do know those guys.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Sierra. Nah, man, but it was good having y'all on, man. It was really good having you on. We got to get E on here one time so we could just go. Like,
I know it's gonna be a lot of yelling because, like, right now it's the off season. Right now,
hey man,
y'all 2025 is looking good though. Y'all might have a good upcoming 2025. I will say because
man, look,
because y'all ended the season really good last year.
I'm gonna put it to you like this,
and normally you guys carry that momentum, so I trust you guys to carry the momentum. I just wish Dusty didn't have to retire.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, but Dusty enjoying himself, man. Just like another former coach here that I know is really enjoying himself in retirement and whatnot. But it's just one of them things, man, where it is what it is. I take it season by season when it comes to sports and whatnot now because I'm not as much of a jaded, like hardcore, put the blinders on fan like I used to be. I'm a lot more open-minded, subjective and whatnot, introspective and whatnot when it comes to my fandom. Like I can be a hardcore fan, but then that reality snaps me back in, and I'm just like, you know what? The sports media brain, whatever gambling thing takes over, and then I'm like, this is not going to happen. This is not going to work out. This is probably how this is going to go. So that's typically what ends up happening, and that's what ends up like when like my uncle gets mad and then he won't talk to me for like 2 months because he don't like what I had to say about the Saints or the Pelicans. So
sometimes you gotta be objective, and
I'm gonna always be objective. It don't matter what. Like I have a hard time remembering the truth, so I can't lie. That's my excuse. So I'm gonna have to tell you what's on my mind because I may forget because I'm forgetful. So I just say what I have to say when I have to say it, so that way I don't forget to say it.
I also wanted to say that we're on Sundays now.
Bruh, wait, this is why I'm sitting here one time like
yeah, because it's funny because E works Saturday, so it's like I want E on the show more. So
okay.
I had to move it to accommodate E's schedule. So like the fact that he works Saturdays,
right?
Like Sundays is a little bit easier to get everybody. So it's like, because Saturdays wasn't working for people for a good point, unless if it's pay-per-view night, where like we could just do a watch along. That's one thing.
Right.
But at the same time, we felt like Sundays around 3:30, like right after like the first football game, should be all right. Because like that first game was like the early game. People kind of waiting for that late night game. So
yeah,
so I figured right through that sweet spot between 3:30 and 5ish, depending on how long we're on.
That's what's up.
So we're on Sundays from here on out, and we'll still do the watch alongs on Saturdays, whether it's AEW or WWE. I'm gonna try to do more AEW shows.
That's what's up. Bro, that's what's up, man. Yeah. Like it's good that y'all still being flexible and whatnot, still trying to like figure out a way how to like carve your niche around real life. Because like you said, everybody got their life, and so it's like, okay, schedule change, so let's change this, and this, let's work this out. We doing the same thing, and like I said, sometimes I may need a pinch hitter here and there because Keyz may need a pinch hitter for me sometimes, and he's had to get a pinch hitter for me sometimes. So life happens, and the good thing is that like you have a good partnership to where the other person be like, hey, don't worry about it, I got your back. And it's dope to see, how y'all doing that, working around each other's schedules and stuff, because honestly, we be doing the same thing with each other, man. Like we always have something going on or whatever. And like I tell Keyz and them all the time, man, if it wasn't for y'all, I would not be doing this shit. I promise you, I would not be doing this shit. I hate it. I don't like people. I don't like talking to people and stuff like that. But it's like I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna play along and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this. And if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna actually do it and do it to the best of my ability. So
yeah,
please believe, like we giving it everything.
Yeah, not for sure. Like that's one thing that I just strive to do every week, because most of the times when people who do watch it, sometimes we do like joke around and shit, but like when we talk graps and stuff like that, we really try to like analyze shit, and we like to fantasy book and this and the third.
Right.
But like when we see something that's kind of like left, we want to have real discussions, because that's kind of like at our core. Have you been on the show like with me and Ty? Like how Tyler would be like the oracle and like talking shit, but be truthful at the same time, because we're here to inform, we're here to entertain, but at the same time we want to make sure that we hook you long enough to have a genuine conversation, but have fun with it too.
And the way Ty will just he'll just be sitting there and then probably going back and then Ty will be like, actually, like such and such he'll say it, and then he'll throw his shots like real.
It's the most important shot.
It's like a he like with the dude who killed old boy earlier with the silencer.
Yo,
that's Ty. That's Ty.
And you need that. You need that.
You just come up and
and I love that dynamic, because Ty, like his background is so diverse in wrestling. Like all our backgrounds in wrestling are diverse, but he likes to take it to a place where he likes to break it down. I'm just glad, our other person who, helped part of the show, he actually works for the company. So it's like,
you get different perspectives.
So you get different perspectives. So now that we got one on the on that front doing what he's doing, like we have these conversations and ideas. Obviously, he just does editing and stuff like that for them. But in terms of like creative stuff, like everything that like we talk about is like things that we see either to get better or just an idea like for shits and giggles. Like, for instance, like you guys tune in on Sunday, that's basically what we're going to be talking about outside of like all the, on topic stuff of the week. But other than that, it's like, our bread and butter is like, all right, now that we got this week's stuff out the way, how y'all feel about this? Or what would this happen? Or if like, Finn should be doing this instead of like this, that, and the third. But now that you see the vision, it's like, oh, like we had an idea about that first, or feel like, oh, this person deserves more opportunities than the third. How do we get there without like antagonizing everybody? And at the same time, it's just like, that's just kind of what the vibe that we try to create every week.
Man, and I love it, because you need different perspectives and you need different opinions and whatnot. It's boring when everybody just agrees all the time. You don't want it to be acrimonious and contentious, but at the same time, you want to have a good amount of balance and healthy arguing on both sides, or different perspectives or different points and whatnot. And Keyz and I try to do the same thing. And it's sometimes like we'll be agreeing on stuff a lot, and then it'll be like there's sometimes like there's just some stuff where it was like, nah, I think like this and this. And he'd be like, nah, I think this and this. But it's
nothing wrong with a little discourse.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's healthy and it's responsible. And as long as you do it in entertaining and do you have to remind us this every time? Like,
she is retired.
But do you have to feed into it? She gonna remind us, and then you gonna feed into it right after. Like,
no. We're trying to keep you retired.
No, we don't want her to stay retired. That's the God dang man.
Well, you want her out of retirement?
Last time you coming on this show, Jesus, man, it's counterproductive, bruh. Damn, I'm trying to get her to come out of retirement because I'm trying to get more into Joshi and stuff like that. I'm like, wait a minute, how is it like? And like how they make these women stars and all this kind of stuff. And
no, for real. People like Sierra, Lyric, like
Phoenix,
Shantice, like people like that, like in the community are very, very needed. They're needed. Retired or not, Their input is always needed.
You know what? This is a perfect example of why we need wrestling. I need to. You know what? We're gonna talk about this at another time.
My man.
All right.
Cap on
For my co-host Keyz, for Randy, for everybody else, for the sponsors, Inplay Dogs and Gel Blasters. Appreciate y'all tuning in to episode 58 Susio Sports.
Gang.